Well, hello everybody. I didn't want to do a video, but I have no choice. I've got to do a Facebook Live. And Mark O'Reilly, yes, I did the Facebook Live like you said. You said, I bet you do a couple before everything's done. And here I am, less than a week later, doing a live. Now, folks, you've all seen what happened with Chrystia Freeland, the viral video. Yes, Elliot McDavid is a founding member of the Party of the Canadian Constitutionalists. Today, for all Canadians, many Americans, I've tagged lots of people from our party board, some of our shadow crown, as I call it. And this is especially important, not only for Elliot, but Red Dog as well too. And folks, before you get all wondering about these funny names and some of the people involved, this is for Intro 2, and I know this is also for the Dene, the Treaty 8 Dene, and all the Cree. We're going to get into Grande Prairie, what's happening there, what's happening in the freedom fight all around Canada, all through the United States. A lot of people make fun of, and I'm going to just make it very simple here, folks, before I get into too much. The topic of this video is communism and constitutional republics. I've given you three in the title that fall into that. Communism, which is a republic. Folks, you can't be a monarchy and be a communist. You can't. We're going to go through some key elements, some real highlights here, point by point. Now, there's two other republics that are most closely resembling communism than they ever could in any way, shape, or form fit a constitutional monarchy or a monarchy. So I give you communist example, China. Then I give you constitutional republic examples, the United States of America and Russian Federation. Three flags. Is everybody with me? And there is not anyone who's going to come along and dispute this video. There is nobody in the world realm of an expert, meaning someone with a doctorate in political science, that's going to come and denounce what I have to say here. And it's very important for these people all over Canada, all over the United States, who talk about being a freedom fighter, because there's narratives. And you know what? Elliot McDavid, Incho, Sadai, I probably don't even say it right, but they are in our party of the Canadian Constitutionalists, the founding members. Elliot McDavid had an eruption last weekend with Chrystia Freeland. It went viral. Lots is happening through ministries. It gets much, much worse, especially for Treaty 8, but not only Treaty 8, most of the northern people, absolutely the Inuit, people are talking about a lot, not new news, even though it feels new for Grande Prairie today and all what's going on there. But again, we're going through first communism and absolutely constitutional republics. The three examples: China, United States of America, and the Russian Federation today, 2022, and ever since absolutely 1952. It's a key date. It's a key date because the Beijing regime, communism, took China, and then in 71, the world, but finally the United States of America, 2/3 House Senate, with the majority president, a landslide majority president, cemented them forevermore one China policy. Now, we're going to take another road here, outside of constitutional republics and communist republics, because you can't be a monarchy and communist. You can't. You can't be a constitutional republic and ever be a monarchy. It's not possible. It's not in the design political science cards. No expert's going to come forward and say, oh yes, you can be, because that's a lie. And we're going to go through some key highlights. So next, I hit the constitutional monarchies. Constitutional monarchies. This is Canada. This is the United Kingdom. This is Australia. This is New Zealand. Now, we can break the world down, folks. We can break the world down to many, many more countries and other issues. But this is the highlight of the video because I'm Canadian. My northernmost border neighbor is the Russian Federation. My southernmost border is the United States of America. For the world and everybody else, Canada only has two trading partners, largely, that control our supply and value chains. Okay? That's the United States of America. Yes, we're all very familiar with that. And then it's communist China. Okay? That's a fact. No one's going to come along and say, oh, no, it's not true. Because China is our second most major trading partner and also has complete control over many of our value and supply chains. If you want to go out in the world beyond selling most of everything to the United States of America, our number one trading partner. Canada is a constitutional monarchy. Now, we're going to get into this theme of communism. It's for all these freedom fighters, all Canadians who somehow think what they're seeing is communism. It's not. And we're going to go through some key points that you can't get anyone of any credible, absolute academic standing, written or otherwise, to dispute. Communism, a doctor makes as much as a guy who shovels shit in a sewer. Whatever the national average wage is in communism, every citizen, no matter your educational status or where you sit, makes the exact same amount of monetary monies. You can't make any more or any less than anybody else. You're all the same. That's communism. Constitutional monarchies are built on a system of inequality, class structure, every single one. This is a fact. A doctor in a constitutional monarchy can make millions of dollars a year, whereas a guy shoveling shit can make $5 an hour or whatever the government or state deems as the minimum wage. Okay? Okay? Class structure, forced labor, high in constitutional monarchies. Which country does Canada most represent? Everybody from doctor, lawyer, every class of citizen. Do we all make the same amount of monies? No, we don't. In fact, a doctor loyal in the crown system, the constitutional monarchy, can make as much as the divine state says they can. In communism, is there any superiority of anybody else? The answer is no. There's no religion. Generally in communist countries, there's no religion. It's pure equality, no matter your skills, your talent, or what you come up with. That's a communism. All other republics, it's paid for labor, meaning your demand is how much you get. Constitutional monarchies are designed top to bottom in a pyramid scheme, meaning the loyaler you are to the state and the divine religion, which is of constitutional monarchies, meaning a human being is your divine. In Canada and all constitutional monarchies, I'm going to say this again, monarchies, you give a divine presence to your absolute highness, majesty, Lord. And we can go on and on. There's many titles of it, and they're all in a hierarchy. You, the people, are not in that hierarchy. You have a divine royal family or divine crown listed. And they list it in order of importance, and they give divine title to it. Whether they earned it or not doesn't matter. They can be born into it. They can be elected into it. You say these are divine human beings in a first class. Communism, there is no first class. Straight up and down. Everybody down here and one long stream of a set of individuals. It's like a high rise. That's communism. Monarchy, pyramid scheme. United States of America, Federation of Russia, can look like a pyramid scheme. They have a quality of the person, but they give in those republics the ability for any citizen, all equal value, to make as much as they can with the talents they have. Everybody gets the same opportunity, so they're to be designed as. There's no born into a status. There's do and use supply and demand to get to where you need to go. Is there bullying? Sure. But it's not written, articulated, or pushed forward in any definition in their highest laws called their Constitution. Monarchies clearly outline this. A divine set of human beings. That's the key religion here. Not Christian, not Muslim, not anything else. The monarchy. There's no church, because church is state. Or if there are churches and religious values, if they're allowed to exist, they're under state. They're always and forever under state. It's written in all the constitutional monarchies. The monarchy, whomever you've codified, or if you didn't codify anything, it's customary, but all the legislation's written by that divine class of people. That's Canada. That's the problem with the world today. WEF, Agenda 2030, most of the UN is found within the realm of the monarchy. Not the United States of America, even though it's been hijacked. Not in communist China, though it's been hijacked. Not in the Federation of Russia that was being hijacked. All those three countries have been slowly and systematically been getting hit in the UN since 1993. Do you know where you chase all of these agendas? The WHO, the WEF, these WHO elite doctors making millions of dollars a year, having full control. Do you know where you chase these people down? To all the monarchies. UK is home base number one. It has 53 nations called a Commonwealth. The most wealthiest of wealthy doctors in the entire world and the WHO almost all originate out of the Commonwealth. And you will find in the Commonwealth Charter, it is clearly and distinctly written out. If you have any questions about this, folks, you can find through the whole pandemic the most highest paid doctors, clearly with the largest bonuses, are all in the Commonwealth, right here in Canada. Alberta, pick a province, pick the national, federal, they all got nearly double their pay, which was already exorbitant before that. Did that happen in communist China? The answer is zero. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. United States of America, all the wages are there. Did people get paid overtime? Sure. But did anyone get a substantial, crazy, out of control, with no government oversight bonus doubling their wages? The answer is no. The answer is no. They have checks and balances that don't allow that. Did Russia go through any of that? No. They may have acknowledged the pandemic. They may have went through it. They never imposed not nearly anything like what was done around the world. Now, do communisms take away everybody's rights in general? Absolutely. No religion. There's no disputing that. But in Canada, it's pick religions that go under state. Your religion gets to exist. This is forever and a day, all monarchies. We can pick Spain, Portugal. We can go through all of them. We can go into empires like Japan. You will find there's a divinity. And any religions allowed all had to go underneath that human divinity, even in their narratives, and they made a lot of money under state. This went on for a long time. Look at the Church of England, first build. Every monarchy or empire has done this. All the colonials. Does China have mass immigration? Does Russia have mass immigration? Does USA have mass legal immigration? The answer is no. None of those republics can. You can all look at it. Does Canada have mass immigration? Yes. Constitutional monarchy, crown colonialism. Displacing domestic population with a foreign one by any means necessary to go with the crown. So if society doesn't fit the crown, they replace you. They've done this all over the world, every single one. What you're experiencing is a height of not a new world order, a very old world order. The problem is there's nobody alive left today from World War I. Mostly everybody from World War II is nearly at the end. Those who remember are long gone. What we're experiencing is not communism. We are experiencing first, second, third class, last seen at the turn of the century. And who? All constitutional monarchies and empires, i.e., age of empires. Is USA an empire? No. But are there governmental powers that wish to be? Yes. If you haven't seen the 1965 video of Harvey and his narrative on what the world would be if the devil ran the earth, you should watch that. Bonnie Ann Heritage brings that forward. Bob Bellonion, I think, APP. Excellent. If you haven't read his major works released on the Conservative Party of Canada and Alberta's UCP and other medical doctors and other narratives for the Crown with WEF, who, you should read it. That's what constitutional monarchies have done forever and a day. It's what led to World War I, World War II. Fact. Germany was a crown colonial, a constitutional monarchy before World War II. Leading into World War II, they were won in World War I. It was colonial wars. Those who had a divine system of a constitutional monarchy, there were 7 major players in the world, they went to war. They dragged China, former USSR, and Federation of Russia before that, and the United States of America many times into war, turning into world wars. We're lucky those 3 countries won the war. We're lucky 2 federalisms, real, pure, we the people federalisms, won those great wars. We're even lucky China won those wars, because a colonial Japan, a colonial Germany, a colonial Spain, a colonial Portugal, a colonial UK, a colonial France have never made the world a shitty, horrible, and ugly, right out of Old Testament Bible, and like the great articulate mind of 1965 when Harvey, then Richard Nixon, JFK, and then Richard Nixon again, and then President Ronald Reagan narrated. And I don't think until we hit Donald Trump did we ever get another president to really hit it and stick it to America. Donald Trump doesn't even get it all. And as years go by, America gets weaker. That's the work I'm going to do. Sorry. I'm working heavy hours again, day shift. I want to do on the Caribou Reserve. Sorry. No, I need water. No, I'm choking down. He's got COVID. Excuse me. I don't. Totally got a frog in the throat, though. That's the worst. That's the first time that's happened. That's why I always have water. Caribou Reserve lands. Federal lands into Northwest Territory, coming down into the top of Alberta. To the right of that reserve is the Angel Church that burnt last week, Thursday, a week ago tonight. That church was burnt down. On that side of the province with NATO was Justin Trudeau in Wing 4 in the Cold Lake Air Base. Straight shot, straight up to Fort Chipewyan. Literally, anyone can look at that map. It's there. On the other side of the province in Grande Prairie, this is the Caribou Reserve. This is not an Indian reserve. This is federal crown land. Are there reserves there in Northwest Territories in the Arctic? Yes. Is there Alberta First Nations there? Yes. When we talk about reserves, Indian reserves, they're tiny little pieces of land under the Indian Act where all the numbered Indians are placed in. Small, astronomically small parcels of land called Indian reserves. But then there's the federal designated Crown land reserves. Your government took. No UN didn't make it a World Heritage Site. Canada made it a World Heritage Site. You won't find USA voting on this, Russia, China, the UNSC voting on this. This is more bullshit UN. And there is bullshit UN. The UNSC P5 haven't stamped off on something. It's nothing. It's nothing, folks. But a garbage can deal. If you don't have all 5 on it, if any one of them vetoes something, it's gone. If they don't care and they let the world vote on something, go for it. Or if a UN state wants to pick something out of the UN garbage can and make it theirs, they can. And unfortunately, constitutional monarchies do it all the time. Why? We're in the Commonwealth. We signed the Commonwealth Charter. The birth of who, WEF, Agenda 2021, Agenda 2030, and there's many. Agenda 2050 before that. There's all the way to 1993, the first one. Well, why that year? That's the height of the rebuild of constitutional monarchy power, the United Kingdom, and its royal family. Its royal family. To slave people. First, second, third class, and always a savage that's got to be eradicated. In Germany, colonial Germany, in real history, no one can dispute, that savage was the Jew. They were always targeted. That's how monarchies win. They win by an elite class in a pyramid scheme, getting everybody down here to fight with each other and find somebody to eradicate. In Canada, sadly, that is the First Peoples, the original peoples of the land. To be forever and a day the savage Indian. This is Inuit, Métis, and your treaty Indians. Australia has them. New Zealand has them. I would say UK has them, but they're long since eradicated. All that's left is the slave class. They even eradicated their federalism. They used to have federalism. And yes, USA, in its history, had a form of federalism, but got major from the First Peoples. So did Russia. Russia didn't learn anything from the UK. USA was not UK absolute. They were a mix of many Europeans. And they found their own federalism adopted from the First Peoples. Canada's a federalism never implemented. We run on pure crown power. None of our federalism has ever been codified. You only have your federal constitution of pure autocratic crown power with very limited real rights of the people. Looks a lot like communism, much, much older than communism with key distinctions. They trick the people into believing they're free. They trick you into believing you have a choice. It's a lie that looks a lot like communism. And as they implement more of their autocratic power, as they return to a time most people are not alive to even remember. No one from World War II is really alive to remember, or not in any shape to articulate anything. Most people from World War II are long gone. Let's face it. And the crown gets stronger. America, the former Russian USSR, which is the Russian Federation today, they're too far removed from the crown colonials. So is USA. Their systems have eradicated a long time ago. My mission, folks, everybody, when I go to the United States, why I'm going to the United States, is I need to educate. I need to try and salvage America, get back to that America from the promise and the fight of 1945, what America is, what the real design of the UN is supposed to be, what's bound in international law, what threatens one of the greatest nations in the world, that threatens all of us, that nearly puts Russia and USA back into a World War III. And China as well too. Who benefits? The monarchies, the unitaries, the garbage that most 4, 5, 6 generation, 7, 8 generation Canadians, ancestors, left that world to escape, to start fresh on the idea like the United States, a new world, a new way of being, a promise of real freedom. This is the fight today. It's okay to get educated. It's okay to make money. It's okay to embrace capitalism with limits. Same with socialism, social responsibility with limits, checks and balances, so that the people write it, the people have protections. The USA did about the best job of it. Is it the best system going? Probably. Does it need work all the time and attention? Yes, it does. And that is the phase where I am at now, that I have to go to the States. We need to fix Canada. That means Canadians and First Peoples together, one UN state, a nation within a nation. And for the millionth time, if you think there's no such thing as a nation within a nation, go look at the United States of America. Nation within a nation. And the First Peoples of America, the American Indian, have more land, 133% more land, 6.7 million people than all Canadians, First Peoples, that's Treaty Indians numbered, that's the unceded, the Métis and Inuit of all of Canada, this massive country combined, just the American Indian. You're being manipulated. Federal Crown land, provincial Crown land. You can't live there. You can't harvest. You can go and visit, but you can't utilize it. Guess who gets to utilize it, and guess who really owns it? Your federal and provincial governments, whomever you elect. And in the crown powers they appoint, in divinity, meaning God's over all of you, they decide what they do with it and how much money they're going to make with their global friends all over the world. They fill their pockets, allowing them to fill their pockets, and they give you all the bills. Sure, capitalism, but not for you, the people. Definitely not for any of the savage First People. I don't make that name. That is the legal speak and legal system, as old as Canada itself, nearly forever and a day, that is still alive today, that was South Africa, abolished for many, many decades. We just had Merkel and Harry told off by Nelson Mandela's grandson, calling her a wicked, lunatic, crown colonial scumbag, because she did her little podcast and said, oh, Mandela was never as happy since he got out of jail than my wedding to Harry. And the grandson says, fuck you, you sick fucks. They're the reason his grandfather remained in his jail as long as he did. The royal family's the reason South Africa was designed the way it was, because UK and the royal family created Canada. Canada's responsible for the design of Imperial Japan leading to World War II and everything it became post World War I. Training through British Columbia, Canada, and learning the Canadian monarchical system. Canada won. UK, British Empire's first one. While they were running the world under the League of Nations, the country that ran the whole world with an iron fist, by force, by superiority, the originals. Canada was their first build. Australia, New Zealand followed suit. South Africa, Japan, Nazi Germany. Go look, folks. Go look. That's real history. Smells and stinks like communism in a lot of ways, but it's a divine pyramid scheme. They don't outlaw God, they are your God. That's different than communism. Communist republics, constitutional republics like the United States or the Russian Federation, give the power and equality to all the people. Whether it becomes democratic is purely the will of the people and how they design. Do people hijack it? Do one-party systems work? I don't like that. I don't want that. I don't want that or subscribe to it. I don't like Marxism, Leninism. It's a pitfall. But I don't like a divine class of human beings, superior human beings, who are responsible for the greatest atrocities in the last 500 years, even till today in our lifetimes. Even till today in our lifetimes. Most wars around the world are over constitutional monarchies, empires, unitaries, civil law, socialist, divine dictators. Where did the design come from? That system, an age-old system. Anyone denying it, you've got to read history, because history shows you the most Americans have ever died in the history of the United States since the War of Independence, and including the independence, have been to constitutional monarchies and pure empires with monarchies at the helm. Every single one. The most epic amount of American deaths fighting for freedom. How many Americans have died in communism versus American constitutional republic wars? How many? Not very many, folks. Measure that versus how many constitutional monarchies and how many Americans have died fighting constitutional monarchies or just plain monarchies. That's the truth. And today we're told that somehow that's a good thing. It's great, it's wonderful, that's not real. It's communism, communism, communism. Again, I don't see the government of Canada making everybody equal, meaning doctors are making $10 an hour and a laborer is making $10 an hour. That's the pivotal point of communism. Pivotal. Hammer and sickle. Farmer and worker rebel, everybody gets paid the same. We're all the same, right? Equal, 100%. No matter how much we contribute, no matter what we get into, no matter how successful we are, no matter the demand, we're all equal. That's not what Canada is. Canada is, we will pay people sworn to the crown, loyal to the crown, and damn everybody else. We will make slaves. Where do slaves come from? Since the age of Egypt in Old Testament. What was that? Oh yeah, it was a monarchy. Oh shit, it was a monarchy. Divine gods over the people, the slaves. They had the savage slave class, the working class, the business class, and then the divine human beings, gods on earth. Egypt, we can keep going on, all the way to UK. Thousands of years of it. Slavery class, savage class, always somebody had to be eradicated. And it got real bad in our last 500 years of human history. That's the truth. That's what Canada is. This isn't New World Order. It's Old World Order before World War II. We're only out of it, and had a success because the Allies weren't of that system, and we got lucky. But today, 53 nations and many others in other empires, tyrants, dictators from unitary, basically divine human being tyrants are literally 70% of the world. If China, Russia, and USA go at it, that's what we're left with. Old World Order. Share the video, get it out there. This is my video for everybody. It's for Elliot. It's for InShow. It's for everybody. It's for all these freedom fighters. Know who your real enemy is. Again, I'm not a Marxist Leninist. I've worked hard my whole life. I've had businesses. I produce. I'm in that third class. If it was communism, a doctor would make the same amount as you. I don't see that. I see divine crown sworn positions making more money than ever while they rape and put the middle class down to a long, wide base pyramid so that they can be real tall and wealthy, more and more rich people. It's corrupting America. Read your 212-page Canadian Constitution, 212 pages, not a shitty little one-page 1982 charter, one amendment of 11. Most of your constitution's from 1867. Most of it, the whole design of Canada, is there for all of you to read. And when you compare it to every other country in the world, you start to realize your country is fucked up. Your country's sick, it's wrong, it's diseased. What we do to the First Peoples is unbelievable. USA is nothing like that. Long since transformed because they have the ability with the quality of person and the ability in checks and balances to constantly change and better themselves. It's not the best system, but it's a hell of a lot better than what Canada is forever and a day. Look at land availability and look how much land costs in Canada. Look how overtaxed we are. That is a system of monarchies where you lease the land off the wealthy landlords. That's what we're getting to. Crush the farmer. Look at the old world that all the Europeans fled from on boats with nothing. First Peoples seem to not understand this either. It's a long series of institutionalizations. Blame America, blame Russia, blame China, but don't ever look at what's really wrong and where really all the most horrendous atrocities forever in our history come from. They come from the constitutional monarchy system. The idea that there's divine human beings that require no accountability, no rules of governance or how to govern. It's on their morality because they are your gods. So it is written, so it is the highest law of the land in Canada. And many others, at least 25% of the world. And then there's all the tyrants, dictators, and all these people who think they have the right to be a god over other men and women in the earth. Sick, wrong, I don't know what else to say. The United States knew this. If you haven't seen Bonnie Heritage's video from 1965, where a pastor, Harvey, out of the United States in 1965, articulates all of this. How did he do it? Did God talk to him? People might believe that, but he was just a very excellent astute reader and understood the constitutional monarchy system, an expert in civics like many Americans are and should be, but the institutionalization, the corruption of the crown is making its way through the world. They're winning a silent war, a $2 trillion war, 53 countries on America, on Russia, on China. Get them to destroy each other. Who wins? Oh yeah, Axis and corrupt allies that were destroyed by Axis because they were all crown colonials. They will be the big winners. And we are back to old world, where most of you are slaves, working on the Lord Divine's land. That's the truth. That's my video. Bye now.